The story begins at a fancy restaurant in Moscow, where two young souls Oleg and Elena are on a date. Oleg tells her that he is a military officer upholding his family's legacy. Later they find themselves hooking up in a hotel room. At that moment, a plane soaring through the air mysteriously loses power and begins to descend rapidly. Simultaneously, the electricity worldwide goes off within seconds, causing a complete blackout, except for the city of Moscow. Immediately, an emergency alert starts blaring all over Moscow, and all the people at the hotel gather in the hallway. The news channels reveal that Moscow has lost all communication with the rest of the world, and even the internet sites are shut down. The government is currently clueless about what is happening, and they have been continually trying to establish contact outside. For now, the government has declared the entire dark part outside Moscow as a quarantine zone and the illuminated part as the circle of life. Oleg and the other people present there suspect it might be a terrorist attack. Subsequently, the government sends an army team into the quarantine zone to investigate, as they had previously sent drones but lost contact. The team discovers that all living beings in the quarantine zone are dead. It appears as though everyone just passed away suddenly, some while eating and others while shopping. Just then, out of nowhere, a humanoid creature attacks one of the army officers. Before the other officers arrive, it leaps from the 5th floor and starts escaping. Despite firing at it, the creature remains unaffected and vanishes into the dark. The soldiers are baffled, unable to comprehend what it was. Fast forward to 1 month later, and the government still has no idea about the calamity they are dealing with. Thousands of people in Moscow from various faiths step out of their houses to gather at their respective places of worship, believing that God is punishing them and that the end of humanity is near. Afterward, a letter arrives at the homes of all reserved army personnel, summoning them for duty. Among them is a man named Yuri, whose mother suffers from short-term memory loss. Despite Yuri's emotional burden, he leaves his mother in the care of neighbors with a heavy heart. The following day at the military outpost, Lieutenant Marina informs the soldiers that a forensic investigation of the quarantine zone revealed that the deaths were caused by a neurotoxin produced by the victims' own bodies. However, the mystery remains as to how millions of bodies simultaneously generated this neurotoxin, leading to their demise. Now the soldiers' primary objective is to enter the quarantine zone and collect scientific data so the scientists can determine the nature of these events. Their secondary objective is to move deeper into the quarantine zone as they have limited resources, and most of their supplies are stuck in that area. This task is not easy, as 5 teams with 70 state-of-the-art tanks were previously sent deeper into the zone but lost all contact with them. As all the soldiers prepare for the mission, Russia's evacuation team is also deployed, tasked with aiding injured soldiers. Oleg's recent girlfriend Elena is also part of this team. However, before they can greet each other, an emergency siren blares, signaling that a large batch of unknown creatures from the jungle is rapidly approaching. All the soldiers swiftly take their positions, facing the imminent threat. The commander dims the lights, and the moment the swarm of creatures falls into range, all hell breaks loose as the soldiers open fire. However, the horde is so massive that it overpowers them. The next morning reveals that the group was a herd of wild bears, numbering in thousands. Most of the soldiers were killed, with only a few survivors including Oleg. Elena tends to his injuries and conducts scans of essential parts of his body. Major General and Lieutenant Maria huddle together to discuss the aftermath of the wild bear attack. Maria proposes that the only place with the potential answers lies within the Department of Sensors in Russia, where research on individuals with supernatural abilities takes place. In that department, there's a boy named Sasha who has the unique ability to receive data in his mind like radio signals. Sasha is currently in the hospital in the midst of a dream where he sees strange visuals and a mysterious bald figure. Before he can see his face, he startles awake, and before him sits a boy introducing himself as Zhenya. Zhenya says that the first wave destroyed all electronics, the second wave caused all living organisms to self-destruct, and the third wave will resurrect the dead and turn them into drone puppets to attack the circle of life. Zhenya emphasizes the need to stop the third wave before it starts, as it will lead to the destruction of the remaining humans on Earth. He informs Sasha that only his boss Ed knows how to stop the third wave, and he needs Sasha's help to use his mental abilities to locate the guy controlling the puppets. Sasha is confused about what Zhenya is talking about and calls the guards to kick Zhenya out. However, the guards cannot see Zhenya because he is communicating through Sasha's mind. The scene then shifts to the outpost, where multiple teams are sent off to different parts of the quarantine zone, accompanied by a few media reporters. While on their way, they have to pass through a partially broken bridge, damaged during the initial plane crash. Upon entering the quarantine zone, they discover that buildings are destroyed in a strange way, and military tanks are dispersed all over the city. As this footage airs on news channels, people in the circle of life take to the streets, sparking riots fueled by the belief that the government is hiding a significant secret from them, leading to chaos and unrest. On the other side, all the teams start camping in different parts of the quarantine zone. Strangely, the places which were scattered with lifeless bodies a few days ago, is now completely empty. Yuri's group notices that the door of a nearby store is open which was closed before their arrival. Upon investigation, they discover that someone had come there in search of food, prompting them to set a trap to capture the intruder. All the soldiers keep a watch on the store throughout the day, and at night, there's a movement in the store again. They cautiously approach, throw grenades inside and enter, only to discover a teenage boy got injured by their grenade. The realization dawns that this is a civilian, as warned by a reporter with them earlier. They stop the reporter from recording and bring the boy inside the building. While questioning the boy, he suddenly attacks and kills a soldier with a knife, leading others to shoot him immediately. In reality, this boy has been transformed into a drone puppet, as mentioned by Zhenya earlier. The scene then shifts to Sasha, seated on a bench outdoors, when suddenly a masked man appears beside him. He introduces himself as Ed and reveals to Sasha that he gained all his mental abilities because when the initial wave struck, he was present at the border of the circle of life and the quarantine zone. He then removes his mask, unveiling an alien-like face. Just then, Marina with the guards arrives, and they surround Ed. However, all the guards suddenly turn their guns towards Marina as Ed takes control of their minds, making them see Ed as Marina and Marina as Ed. Ed tells Marina that soon there will be millions like him on Earth whose sole purpose is only to eliminate humans. He claims that he is on the side of humanity and wants to save them, but they don't have enough time, so Marina must listen to him. Marina agrees, and Ed reveals that the entire world has been blacked out and every living organism has turned into drone puppets due to radiation. He explains that it was his job to release the radiation, and he was supposed to release it when the moon faced the ocean. However, he released it when the moon faced the land, saving a part of the land from being affected by radiation. Ed discloses that they did it because 200,000 years ago they predicted their son would eventually gonna die after 200,000 years, so they started searching for a new planet and found Earth suitable. They released a virus on Earth to eradicate the advanced civilization that had been living on Earth, which had built pyramid-like structures and underwater cities. This virus was none other than humans themselves. They engineered human DNA in such a way that it could be highly destructive, deliberately incorporating emotions such as greed, anger, hatred, and jealousy, all of which are profoundly destructive. Their plan worked, and humans eliminated the advanced civilization, but before humans could completely destroy everything, they planned these 3 waves to wipe out humanity, leading to the current situation. Ed confesses that he and his brother Ra came to Earth 2,000 years ago. Their job was to supervise the arrival of their population, scheduled for tomorrow. Ra is the one controlling all the drone puppets, and together they must find and eliminate him, but for that, Ed needs Sasha to utilize his powers and locate Ra. Meanwhile, an enormous horde of drone puppets emerges out of nowhere and attacks Yuri and his team. The battle is intense as the drone puppets are equipped with various weapons, and Yuri's team is quickly outnumbered. They fire a flare gun towards the outpost for help. The major at the outpost contemplates going to Yuri's team's aid when flares start coming from all directions, indicating that all teams are in danger. He realizes that the situation has escalated into a full-blown war. Yuri, seeing the multitude of flares, realizes that there is no assurity which team will receive help first from the outpost. Therefore he decides to head in the direction where the flare gun has not yet been fired, hoping that both teams can combine forces to survive. However, during their journey, Yuri's remaining team members are ambushed, and only Yuri and press reporter Olya survive. Meanwhile, Ed, using Sasha's powers, successfully determines Ra's location, but this action alerts Ra to Ed's intentions. Following this, Ed along with Marina and soldiers heads towards Ra, leaving Sasha behind. While on their way, Marina asks Ed why Zhenya is helping him. Ed reveals that the bodies of his population are quite advanced and possess the ability to cure chronic diseases such as cerebral palsy. He assisted Zhenya in overcoming his cerebral palsy disorder, and in return Zhenya is now repaying the favor to Ed. Suddenly a barrage of missiles descends from the sky, targeting the outpost. The sheer number of missiles overwhelms the outpost's defense mechanism, leading to complete destruction before Marina's eyes, with everyone inside killed. Witnessing this, Marina is furious with Ed, accusing him of knowing about the attack in advance and deliberately leaving Sasha at the outpost. Ed, however, argues that sacrifices must be made to save humanity. He explains that Ra had discovered Sasha's location, and taking Sasha with them would have led to the same fate for their group. According to Ed, this sacrifice was necessary to protect humanity from Ra's impending threat. On the other side, Yuri and Olya eventually locate Oleg's team, and heartfelt hugs ensue. Oleg shares that their group also faced a brutal attack, leaving only a handful of survivors. At that moment Marina, accompanied by Ed and soldiers, arrives in a tank. As Ed steps out of the vehicle, Yuri and Oleg immediately point their guns at him due to his alien face. However, Marina swiftly intervenes, reassuring them that Ed is on their side. Subsequently they all board the tanks and head towards Ra's location. After covering some distance, they encounter an overwhelming number of drone puppets blocking their way. Despite this, the group decides to press forward in their tanks. Some puppets even attach explosives to themselves and rain down on them, but the group skillfully maneuvers, reaching Ra's building successfully. Ed along with Yuri ascend the building to confront Ra, while others below struggle to hold down the massive number of puppets. However, the sheer numbers of puppets eventually overwhelm them, causing heavy casualties. As a result, Oleg and the surviving members decide to join Ed and Yuri on the upper floors. Upstairs, Yuri launches an attack on Ra but can't even last a second. Following this, a fierce battle erupts between Ed and Ra, during which Ed manages to extract Ra's heart, and Yuri seizes the opportunity to kill Ra by inserting a grenade into his body. Marina, Oleg, and the rest also arrive on the upper floors, and Ed uses his powers to kill all the drone puppet at once. Now the only people left on Earth are Zhenya, Oleg, Yuri, Elena, Olya, and Marina. They are not happy with the victory as they are the only ones left, and Zhenya questions Ed about why he didn't act sooner to save billions of lives. Ed explains that if he had acted earlier, the approaching spaceship carrying their population would have detected it and entered defensive mode. He asserts that Ra planned all this because humanity is inherently destructive and has become too powerful due to constant wars, and with their population arrived while humans were still present, the outcome would have been destructive. Ed states that throughout the history, humans have consistently engaged in conflict over religion, but now they have an opportunity to coexist with their God on Earth. He argues that with the remaining population, they have enough people to grow and repopulate. He proclaims himself as the God of humans, revealing that his intention to save humanity was to make himself their deity. This revelation angers everyone, and Zhenya launches a surprise attack on Ed from behind with a knife, but Ed manipulates his mind, causing him to strike Marina instead. Following this, Oleg, fueled by anger, moves forward to kill Ed. However, Yuri intervenes, reasoning that killing Ed won't change anything as there will be thousands more like him soon. Despite Yuri's efforts to prevent violence, Oleg and Yuri find themselves locked in a fierce confrontation. Just as Yuri is on the verge of delivering a fatal blow to Oleg, Olya shoots Yuri with a gun. Oleg, now standing once again, moves forward to kill Ed, but Ed uses his manipulative abilities to present himself as Oleg's father. At this moment, Zhenya rushes in, pushes Ed from the building and dies with him. With Ed and Zhenya gone, the only survivors are Oleg, Olya, and Elena. A sudden silence blankets the scene as they witness an alien spaceship descending from the sky, crushing towering skyscrapers like a pack of fries. After waiting for a while for aliens to step out from the spaceship, the trio enters, discovering thousands of chambers with aliens sleeping in them. They start killing all of them with their guns, only to realize that they don't have enough time or bullets to eliminate each of them individually. Just then, their focus shifts to the oxygen supply pipes, and they start destroying them row by row. However, as they approach the last remaining rows, they witness alien kids sleeping in the chambers. The trio stands still, uncertain about their next course of action. As the chambers open, the alien kids step out, forming a line and gazing at the humans. And with this scene, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.